Good morning, Trey. Are you enjoying summer? And I guess the big question of the day is are you working hard or are you playing hard today?
Uh, so I am today it's a pretty busy meeting focused day, you know. But I'm really excited. I am gonna kind of stay cool tomorrow. I'm totally adulting by getting a new mini split air conditioner for my office.
Cool.
So because my dog likes to, come in and out of that door every day and unfortunately that means all the heat comes through that door every day. So it gets a little toasty in here, but you look like you're somewhere fun.
Do I really? I'm in the front seat of my car. I guess Lori does have a new car, so I guess that could be fun. It's got all kind of gadgets and gizmos, built-in Wi-Fi. So actually, I can do this. But we are at the beach with five grandkids, five of the seven, and I just did not dare doing this inside our amazing condo overlooking the water because one of five could scream any moment and one of five could do anything any moment. So I decided, gosh, the car would be a great quiet place to do this. So yes, I'm at a fun place, but I'm in a metal box right this moment.
Well, I can't promise that my son Kai might not make an appearance here. I hear him kind of wandering back there, but yeah, that's great, man. I mean, it sounds like that you are at the beach, enjoying life, enjoying family, which I think that's part of the summer. I know it's one of our big messages as we have gone through over the past couple of years. Is when we approach summer, is to lean into your rhythms of rest during the summer and to get out into the sun, but also take your work with you as you go. As a reminder, Curt, what did your mom used to say all the time about your business in particular?
I mean, it was so profound now. I mean, when she said it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's another mom quote. You say dad
Yeah,
jokes and
totally.
mom quotes or whatever. But it was like, guys, don't go out and do Juice Plus. Go out and do life and take Juice Plus with you. And her real meaning was you got in this business to create more time in your life, to create more freedoms, to create more not living paycheck to paycheck. Why are you trying to schedule more time to do this? You should want to do this business with the people that are in your life and a part of your life. So go out and do life and just take this with you, because if you scheduled a moment to do this, those people might not be around you. You might be trying to do a relational business in isolation. So it was a profound quote that means so much to me today. So thanks for asking.
Yeah. So, it's part of the dream, particularly for I think that I'm a tweener millennial, so like even though I fall in that millennial, range, I feel like I connect a lot more with Gen X. And but at the same time, I can empathize and I can get there. I mean, I do remember a day when my house did not have a computer. I remember the first day that we got our
Wow,
computer,
you're
which was
old.
pretty amazing, right? But the thing is that I think that when particularly my generation and younger generations, kind of the dream job. If you ask my kids, like, what do they want to be? They all want to be like YouTube streamers. Um, but part of the dream job is to not necessarily be slave to a desk, right? It's to be able to move and to be somewhere where you can take your work anywhere that you go. And that your job not necessarily something that defines you. I know that's not necessarily like from your particular generation is not necessarily always like the case, right? You talk a lot about the idea that a 9 to 5 was kind of that dream job, and
Yeah,
then you
we,
could let
we
it
used to
go,
we used to call that banker's hours or government job hours.
right? But I think that what's true about anyone working these days is that there is a little bit of a dream that
Yeah.
your paycheck could actually be fun, right?
Well,
Like,
Trey, I think what everything you've said so far has made me think it used to be about the amount of money you could make. I want to be a doctor because I can make the most. I want to be a lawyer because I can make the most. And you just saying what your kids want to be when they grow up, it's an indicator to me is we want to make money, but it's how we make it that's so important to today's generation because they have other plans than just creating a paycheck. And so I think people desire to create an income in a way that doesn't lock them down to what you're talking about. They're not, I used to say, let's go when you get a job today, you want to go to school, get a great education. And it's so exciting when you graduate, you get a cubicle, a commute, and a cubicle, commute, and a computer. The 3 C's of getting a college degree. And nobody wants that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, because I think what people really want is to find a job that creates more margin, more joy, and of course, more income, right?
Yep.
And so, Curt, here's the thing. I think that those people that know your story, I think one of the questions they might say is like, has work always felt like play? Or was there time where work like felt more like work?
Oh my gosh. Well, you're going to think, oh, you're going to think poor pitiful Curt and like laugh and sob at me. But the first 6 months when I got out of Georgia Tech, for those of you that know Atlanta, Trey does. So we have this big loop around Atlanta called 285. We call it the perimeter. And it is like, I mean, you could sit on there for 2 hours to go 20 miles sometimes. I mean, it's road rage in Atlanta is where someone sat one day and created Prozac. There's just no doubt. In their car, they were so mad, so frustrated. But so I commuted the first 6 months of my working career. I commuted from downtown Stone Mountain to Vinings every day. Trey knows that means I was doing 2/3 of that perimeter every morning.
Every morning.
There was no easy way to get
awful.
there. And I got to work in a bad mood. I got home in a bad mood, and I wasn't making a lot of money. So and I had a great job to like maybe potentially make a bunch of money as an apprentice for a guy who had made millions and millions and millions in the real estate business. So I was willing to work for a short season to learn. I wasn't expecting a big paycheck, but when you topple that with, I had to buy nice clothes to look the part, which made me broke. I had to drive, which gave me a headache and made me mean and anxious and stressed every day. That was miserable. That was a miserable creation of a paycheck for 6 months.
So, I mean, then give me an example of something that like was super fun that also became something profitable, right? Do you have a good story about that?
Yeah, I mean, so, well, I mean, I may or may not answer your question. So,
Okay.
you're talking about in that same job or just in general? And any
No, like in general, like even like because that's kind of like was your future. I mean, your past, like thinking about either now or when you're really starting to like grow your business.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple things. I think what I just described to you and the lack of joy that existed in that situation was a real driver for me to make a change. So
That's right.
So sometimes, we hit rock bottom, or we hit a point of like, okay, for things to change, I have to change. I can't just expect change and me do nothing. So that did create that point of view. But I think one of the things that happened was when we poured our blood, sweat, and tears into something where we saw a bright future. We got in this business, we were naive, we knew nothing, but we did see, and it's funny, I'm going to do a training tomorrow for those of you watching live, and we'll talk about this, but we did see our oasis in the desert. We felt like we were in a desert, Trey. And we saw that oasis. So seeing that oasis made us work so hard to get there. So there was total joy out of it. I guess the good that came of it was we saw opportunity came our way. That Kairos knocking on your door. I mean, this Carpe Diem season, opportunity came our way. And because we were frustrated and knew change had to happen, we seized that opportunity. So I guess I may not have answered your question, but we seized an opportunity, and the hard work and desire to have that made us fruitful.
That's good. Yeah. So it makes me think about something that we've talked about before, which is this connection between purpose and work, right? Which again, I think that this is it's not something that's new to any generation that's out right now. I think it's always a pursuit. It's like what you said. It's around the method in which we get there, right? Because I think all of us can get an idea of these 3 different types of personalities. The first one is someone who's always surviving.
Yep.
that they're just in the job. It's awful. They have find no purpose in it, but they just feel like they're slave to the clock and they're just working through it, right?
Yep.
I think that others might feel this where they're striving, where they're working so hard, and they just have, but there's really no motivation to you're trying to get somewhere, but it just feels like an uphill battle. And then drifters, which I think we were starting off at the top of the podcast, is like these people who are kind of dreaming and just kind of moving along life, searching for a purpose, but at the same time not really ever having this foundation. Our goal, and what we talk a lot about, is trying to find that thriving life where
Yeah.
passion and purpose and your work all come together in one way. And that to me is the healthy pursuit in life. You and I both are
Yeah.
believers, and we talk about how Jesus calls us to a life that is both high challenge and also highly invitational.
Yeah.
In other words, there's a lot of relationships and there's also work being called there. It's not about just be living in a cozy kind of relationship or a, a rough staff culture. Like it's really about like finding that passion, finding that purpose in Christ, but also living that out in our work and everything that we do.
Without that challenge, you called it drifting earlier. Without the challenge, complacency is easily sets in and takes over. When you and I were talking about this, you and I both love a lot of the same books, and whether you use Stephen Covey's analogy or another, I think a healthier paycheck is what we put in the title. And if that's our begin with the end in mind, quoting Stephen Covey, desire, I think you have to decide what a healthy paycheck is. And then I think you have to decide, am I willing to pay the price to get there? And all of us are going to start from a little bit different starting point. Some of us are halfway down that journey. Maybe some of you are at an age where you've inherited enough money where you feel like you're halfway down the road, but you got a little bit left to finish off the challenge. Some of you are like, I'm at ground zero. I mean, I'm willing to pay the price, but I have no starting point. I need to see. You need to put me in the blocks because I don't even know where to start. So, can we just take the second half of this podcast, Trey, and maybe go from those four quadrants you talk: striving, thriving, surviving, drifting, complain, all the different places you could be. Can we see if we could maybe help them? Not do it for them, because we can't give them a universal definition of a healthy paycheck because everybody's a little different. But could we help them define that and then maybe get them in the starting blocks?
Yeah. So I'm going to throw it back to you. What is a healthy paycheck? What does that mean?
Well, to me, and again, could be different for you, but the reason I'm going to define it for you, and then I'm going to tell you why I define it that way. A healthy paycheck for me is creating an income in the important seasons of life that doesn't require you to be the mule pulling the plow. Another way to say that is you're not going to trade hours for dollars when you have valuable moments with your kids and your family and things you want to do in life. You haven't bought into the world's model of work as hard as you can for as long as you can and fund this 401k. And when you're 65 years old, you'll have money to have fun and enjoy the life God called you to live. And I don't believe that's biblical. I don't believe that's the model, because I believe God wants all we've got, and he defines what a life of joy is for us, and he wants us to pursue it now, not wait till we're old. And I'm almost old. I'm 62. So I mean, that's interesting that I haven't thought about it, how close I am to that 65 I talk about all the time. But I mean, that's a healthy paycheck for me. And for some, it's $10,000 a month. For some, it's $5,000 a month. For some, it's, if I could just make that extra $1,000 to send my kids to private school right now because the school district we're in is terrible, or whatever, or vacation, or a car you got to have. I mean, Trey's had air conditioning problems in the past week. He's fixed one and buying a new one, but he solved the problems. But sometimes people, I mean, it's amazing how few people have that incremental amount of cash put aside to survive a crisis. Maybe you got a crisis you need to fund right now, you know? So healthier paycheck, I mean, big picture, I would define it, stop trading hours for dollars so that you can control where you spend your time, not the creation of the paycheck controlling where you spend your time.
Yeah, it's good because I think that part of this is I think your a healthy paycheck is to me is about looking at health in the sense of like what when it comes to your paycheck, like your work, your relationship with work, but also your relationship with the money that comes from it.
Yeah.
And Curt and I, we're not financial advisors or anything like that, but
But
it's
we did
funny.
stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Oh, yeah. We what's really interesting is I didn't grow up with a lot of financial sense at all. In fact, when Lauren and I were first married, I got a knock on the door, and it was the gas company here to turn our gas off. And she was like, "Did you pay the gas bill?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "When?" And I was like, "When we bought the house." And she was like, she was like, "You had to pay it every month." And I was like, "It's that much every month." Um, I had no idea. I thought I would just paid it once a year or something like that. I had no clue. I had none of that financial sense. And Lauren grew up on a farm. She was a farmer's daughter, and man, like they had a scarcity mindset, and there's a reason why we have no debt and 5 degrees and 3 kids and two adopted from China, right? Is because that's like we have zero debt, and because she, thank the Lord that I married her, by the way, because I would have been lost as a last year's
Easter
Easter
egg.
egg.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. And so, but I say that because I think that one of the big things is what you're talking about, is this healthier perspective of finances. Like I just now am getting into Dave Ramsey. I love Dave Ramsey. I like
Yep.
listening to his show and all of that. I never really liked him in the beginning because I'm like, I'm not going to do these envelope things. But then I'm starting to realize that I just do the envelopes digitally.
Yeah.
But the real truth is I think that there is something to defining a healthy relationship with money, but also it's this healthy relationship with work and realizing this. And I think this is so important.
Hey Trey, while
Called,
hold your thought there. I want to, since we're live,
yeah,
while Trey's talking about defining that healthy relationship with work, you guys in the comments, I would love to know what you think the vital signs are of a healthy paycheck. Just put it in the comments. If we're talking about blood pressure, oxygen stuff, when you're talking about your physical health, what are some signs that you would think of as vital signs of a healthy paycheck? I'd love to hear that as Trey unpacks this next thing about a healthy relationship with work. Go ahead, Trey.
Yeah, and so I think that the other part is a healthy relationship with work. And while God, one of the first things that we see that he calls Adam to do is to tend the garden, is to work with him. And I
Yep.
believe that there will be work on the other side of Jesus' second coming, that we'll be called to and participate with God in that.
Yes.
But at the same time, our identity wasn't placed in our work.
No.
Our identity was placed in the one who created us. And so I think that there's this whole other dynamic of misplacing our purpose, which to me is a really important part of the pursuit of a healthier paycheck, and to find this relationship between work and play. Because if your work is your identity, you will strive so hard and so long to try and find something that, while it might pay you more and it might give you more worldly prestige, it may not actually truly impact your purpose in life.
Well, you'll never arrive. You'll
Yeah.
just add another comma to the check, or another digit.
That's right. And so, anyways, Curt, we're kind of getting to the end here.
Can I make one last connection that you and I did talk
Sure.
about, and
Yeah.
and we have other trainings on this that are in depth, but I'm passionate about the relationship between work and rest. If you make work, if work consumes your life, and it is a biblical thing to work. You're supposed to give your all, and anything you do, give your all. And it was defined right from the beginning in the garden, like Trey said. But God also, as the creator, he exemplified the priority of rest over work. So
That's right.
What I don't want you to do is listen to this and become a workaholic. What I want you to do is listen to us talk about this and understand that you want to work at your optimum. And as we bring health into the paycheck, let's bring health into you functioning at the highest level you can to work. And the only way you're going to do that is try for a week to set an alarm clock for what time you're going to go to bed instead of what time you're going to wake up. Just for a week. Decide it's important that I get in my bed and I start my rest. Not that I work as hard as I can and I set an alarm clock so I don't oversleep. Just for a week. Put rest first. You'll be amazed how fueled you are for the journey. So I know I know that's not where we want to totally wrap up, Trey, but I mean, if we didn't leave them but one nugget, work hard, play hard, but you're going to work hard because you rest well.
That's good. Yeah, and so I do want to end on this particular thing is that this summer, Curt, you've challenged your community in the Juice Plus community to a summer sample challenge.
Yep.
And some of this is to try and insert some fun into your work, right? Like a lot of what you do is highly relational. It's very much investing in these relationships. And so I want anyone who might be listening to know that you can still participate in this. Every week, we're going to be giving away a sample bag to the leader of
custom logo. It's really cool. It's nice looking. Yep.
Yeah, but if you go to makealife.com/summer challenge, you can join and be a part of that. It doesn't matter where you are in the Juice Plus business. It doesn't even matter like if you got other samples you're going to be passing out, and we want to know you too. Like if you might be doing another business.
Hey, Trey, did you know? I'm not going to give away the names right now because we're going to unveil the list. But did you know the person that won our challenge the first week gave out 45 samples the first week?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. That's some hustle, right?
Yeah.
Hustle and grind. So anyways, well, Curt, thanks for joining us. If you have any questions about this show or other shows, you can always find Curt at Curt Beavers anywhere on the internet. If you need to connect with him, he's got lots of drive to help you stay engaged with building your business. If you don't know us, we'd love for you to go on and go ahead and subscribe to our podcast. You can do that on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts and really anywhere you got it. But we'd love to for you to go back and listen to any of our episodes as we help people build the life that they want. Because that's why we chose the title of the show of Life It's What You Make It, because we believe that it's not something necessarily that comes easy, but when you're intentional about it and you want to make a life, you can do it. And so, Curt, any final thoughts before we head on out?
No, I love what you said. It's life is what you make it. It's like it's not life what happens. It's not just what happens. Right. You've got to realize that, and we also want to help you discover God's unique purpose for your life, because once you start pursuing that, that's where the real joy comes from. So we're glad you joined us. Let's stay focused and realize every day that He's the creator and we're the created, and things will go well.
All right, that's a pause.